Solving Success with Vitor Aguiar.
Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of Solving Success. It's me, Vitor, and today I have a good friend of mine, colleague, enemy, frenemy, brother. This is my guy. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Delon Om, also known as Delon Om.
A.K.A. Dr. Omro.
That's right, Dr. Om.
It's a new thing.
That's right.
And a little bit of backstory. Delon and I met working in 2014 at Holt Renfrew Men downtown.
Mm-hmm.
It was a brand new store.
Mm-hmm. The men's store, first of its kind.
We got to meet for the first time at the orientation. And, you know, through that, we realized we had lots in common.
The only thing I remember about that orientation was your choice of shirt for the first day. It was a great shirt. It was tomatoes or something?
Yeah, it was loud.
Yeah. What was it?
I think it was tomatoes.
Yeah,
man.
tomato. What brand was that?
Oh, no, it was
strawberries or something. There was some kind of fruit.
What was it? Apples.
Apples, okay.
Yes.
What brand was that?
It was called Naked and Famous.
Oh, wow.
Canadian brand out of Montreal. And, yeah.
Great denim.
They do have great denim.
Yeah.
If you're into raw denim and you want to support a Canadian company, Naked and Famous, great jeans.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that. And we opened a whole new store in downtown on what they call the Mink Mile in Yorkville.
Oh, yeah.
And we learned a lot.
We thought of very creative ways to pass the time as well.
We really did.
We used to play a lot of silly games, just anything to make the hours fly by.
And, you know, anyone that works retail or has worked retail or even certain jobs can relate to counting down the clock.
The coping mechanisms, as we say.
Yeah, yes. And so much fun.
Yeah.
So much happened.
Yeah.
You know, making nicknames for our coworkers.
Yes. Yeah. These are all things you have to do to just emotionally and spiritually prepare yourself for a long shift. It makes it go by very quickly.
Yes. And, you know, you've worked in retail for a long time.
A very long time.
But before we get there, you know, this thing is called Solving Success. And everyone's got a different point of success. Everyone's got different things that made them who they are today. And I want, because I know you.
Yeah.
But people don't know you. Let's hear a little bit about Dr. Delon Om. Like, how did you start? Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Grew up in Pickering.
Okay.
Yeah, born in Markham. Parents moved to Pickering in 91. Went to high school there. After that, I did a BA at York University in criminology.
Awesome.
Then did a master's at U of T. And then I decided to pursue a PhD, but only because I was afraid to enter the real world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people have that anxiety about graduating and then entering the job market. My idea was to steer clear of the job market, to stay in school, keep myself insulated in the confines of academia.
And to that point, were you a great student even in high school?
Yeah, very punctual, extremely bright, very engaged. You know, as a matter of fact, I just won an award, an alumni award in the Catholic District School Board. They awarded it to me last week.
Congratulations on
Yeah,
that.
thank you. It was great.
And, you know, what made you a good student?
You know, and I'm going to slightly divert the question by talking about just my identity as a person of color. You know, I find that being a racialized, visible minority, there are a lot of stereotypes within the GTA, within Canada, for that matter.
Within the world.
Within the world, yeah. And I wanted to make a concerted effort to not be a statistic, you know? So I always wanted to be that guy who knew the answer to the questions that were being asked. If I didn't know the answer, I knew how to find the answers by using certain methods or methodologies. And I just wanted to be unlike my peers. You know, unfortunately, a lot of them, even family members, they went down a very dangerous path. And I wanted to steer clear from that and just kind of carve out an identity for myself as a person of color.
Yeah, and I've always noticed that about you. You're very determined.
Yeah.
Very bright guy, but you almost, like, for lack of a better term, you hunt alone.
Yeah.
Like, you stay away from the distractions.
Yeah.
And I find, at least for myself in high school, and, you know, I was always getting distracted,
Mhm.
getting put off from
Yeah.
the schooling. So it was kind of cool and very interesting to see how you didn't let that bother you.
It's it's very alienating. When
Yeah.
I was doing my post-secondary study, I mean, as you can imagine, writing a dissertation, doing a PhD, it's very alienating. I lost a lot of friends. They stopped calling like the third time around. If they wanted to hang out, go to a party, I always kept on turning them down because I knew that I had to focus on my craft and get some readings done or get an article published, so on and so forth. So it was alienating, but after the fact, it's fun to reestablish those relationships, reconnect, and pave new relationships.
It's true. And to your point where, every single lunch break, every day, without like, no questions asked, Delon had a stack of books,
Yeah.
and he would carry them and walk out the store, and God knows where he went. And he would go and read. He would tell me, hey, I'm going to go do some readings.
Yeah.
And, it almost became like a running joke. And how, like, is this guy actually getting his PhD?
Well, some people in the store didn't believe I was getting a PhD.
That's very
right?
true.
There were some coworkers whose name I won't mention, but once again, they underestimated me. It might have been because of my race, my age, my ethnicity. I'm not sure, right?
Yeah, there's always haters.
Yeah,
And you can't let them get to you.
yeah.
And you show them.
Yeah.
When you finally got the PhD.
I think I did. Yeah.
And I remember, what were we doing? We went to this particular coworker that didn't believe
Yeah.
he was getting his PhD, and we would talk like extra loudly and be like, "So yes, I'm going to Delon's dissertation this Friday,"
Yeah, yeah.
which was
And she didn't believe you, eh?
she didn't believe me,
Wow, look at that.
and like I took pictures, and I believed you,
yeah.
but what really made the difference is when I went to his PhD defense.
And that was very gracious of you. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
So I think I took the bus to York University.
We had drinks after with one of the committee members.
We did, and seeing him, Delon, in front of, I don't know, a committee of 5 professors, and then like one person on a Skype screen from a different university.
It was grueling.
And to see how much effort and work that went into that. And I remember us helping clients at Holt Renfrew. We were selling clothing, and Delon had someone in a change room, trying on clothing, and outside is Delon, and he's rehearsing. He's rehearsing his PhD defense. He's like muttering under his word, it was just.
I think many times you actually volunteered to listen. So
I did.
I appreciate that.
I really did, and we always were there for me, and I was always there for you, and I had to go and see you succeed.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure it was an important time for you.
A milestone for sure.
Right?
A milestone.
How many years did it take to become So what do you have a PhD in? So people don't know.
Yeah, I have a PhD in the social sciences, specializing in criminology and sociology. My particular specialization is eco-crimes, crimes against the environment, and how it parallels social inequality in the developing world. So I do a lot of interesting work on that. And I look at, the determinants of these crimes, whether it be pathological, whether it be geopolitical, economic, so on and so forth.
And you teach.
Yeah.
Where are you teaching?
York University.
Nice. I actually had the pleasure of seeing a good friend of mine teach.
That was a fun day.
And he was teaching multiculturalism, right?
That's right.
To his class. And I was the only person, Caucasian person.
Caucasian, that's right.
And it was
Intense.
a scene. It was intense.
The students were very passionate about systemic racism, barriers.
And, for me, it was very eye-opening because I went to university in Guelph, which is about an hour away from Toronto, which didn't have, we had a lot of different cultures, but for the most part, most people were Caucasian. They were white. And seeing what a classroom in Toronto at York University looked like, it was mind-blowing. You had people of all ages. 40s, 50s, 20s, people with children. It was different religions, and seeing them come together, and wanting to better themselves. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. And it's a project I'm very passionate about. That particular class you sat in on is a transitional year program. So the program is designed for those that are facing economic, social barriers to accessing the formal education system.
Okay.
So it's created with the intent of making education a bit more equitable, accessible, because I believe, as I'm sure you do, it is a human right. So that program, I think a lot of universities have a transition or transitional year program. So it's a great way to even the playing field and just remove some of those systemic barriers that prevent people from leading and fulfilling lives.
Nice. So we talked about your academic success. I think everyone at this point wants to know, why do you have a guitar in front of you? Why? Like, are you a musician?
I am a musician.
So tell us more about that.
Yes, yes.
When did you start learning
Well, I
into
was
music?
a runner-up on Canadian Idol back in 2008.
Amazing.
2007, 2008. I was like top 40. Yeah, top 45. It was a great experience. You know, I auditioned, and it was kind of anticlimactic because, you know, unlike American Idol, when you open your little envelope, it says, you're going to Hollywood, you're going to Los Angeles, right? When we opened ours, it was, they're going to Toronto, and, you know, I'm from the city, so, you know, it kind of curbed my enthusiasm and my excitement, right? So that was a great experience. You know, I didn't like the fact that it was so staged. It was so orchestrated. You know, I remember the very first day I auditioned, the program directors, the directors, and the hosts, they entered the room and they looked at the entire pool of candidates and they said, okay, folks, we know exactly who is going to be the next Canadian Idol. And the moment they said that, I realized, okay, this whole thing is staged. You know, I mean, how could you say something like that before the show even begins?
Fair.
Right? So the industry is extremely contrived, very staged, as I said, and I kind of fell off the wagon. You know, I put music on the back burner, focused on my academic studies, and then in 2011, my cousin and I, we kind of united forces and did a song together. Very first song I co-wrote with him.
Nice. What was it called?
It was called Superstar, and the
Nice.
group was called Starchild X, and we submitted it to Kiss 92. Got picked up by the program director, the radio director.
The real Toronto people know Kiss 92.
That's right. That's right. Got picked up, and after that, we got calls from Sony Canada, we got calls from Ultra, we got calls from Atlantic, and inevitably, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but my cousin kind of made some backhandle deals and excluded me from the decision-making. He opted for Ultra, and we got signed. You know, it was a really exciting moment in my life. The song was on the radio like 12 times a day. I was working at Tip Top Tailors, and the radio was on, so every time the song came on, my coworkers would just like burst out into sheer excitement, informing the patrons of the store that, hey, this guy's on the radio. That's his song. So
How did that feel?
there's no feeling in the world like hearing your music, your art publicized, you know, and people actually singing along with it. It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal.
And this was the time where like radio was like it.
Yes, yeah. That's before the, you know, internet. I don't want to say revolution, but I mean there are a lot of new mechanisms in place now that have replaced radio. But no, I mean radio was still like the main source of trend making music, right? So it was great.
So what went on with that? So what happened with the music?
Yeah, we signed the deal, and you know we're getting ready for a great launch, international launch. Alex Godino, you know, a world-recognized producer / DJ, did his own version of it, his own interpretation, and we're getting ready for like a September launch. And in 2012, we received notification from Ultra that the deal fell through for whatever reason, and you know I don't want to bad talk Ultra, but at the same token, you know, to this day, we're now in 2018, they still have the rights to the song and they refuse to relinquish it.
So 6 years later,
Yeah.
his song is locked to the label.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do.
Can't do anything about it.
See, like, and that's one thing that people don't realize.
It's a very ruthless industry. And that's why you have a lot of entertainers today pursuing a more independent route. The Daniel Caesars, for example, right?
Yeah, because, you know, everyone wants to be signed, and, you know, it's especially to a record label like Ultra,
Yeah.
which is world renowned.
Yeah.
You must have been walking on the clouds.
Absolutely. Couldn't believe it.
So after the music, how did you bounce back from that?
You know, I'm not going to lie. I fell into a state of depression at that point because I thought that was my big break. And then I met a an individual named Sheldon Moore. He was the guy that engineered the song. And he said, you know what, there's something special about you. You know, I like the way you sing. You kind of have a raspiness. It reminds me a bit of Michael Jackson, so on and so forth. And we decided to do a solo project.
Nice.
So we did. And, you know, once again, everything that I contributed to and he contributed to was gold. You know, we did a couple of songs. Some of them have landed on CBC Radio. I was the artist of the week featured.
Yep.
You know, one of my songs were featured there. I toured with Genuine, you know, opened for Genuine at the Danforth Music Hall. I think, were you there for that?
I was not there.
You were, okay.
But I remember that.
It was your friend, though, who hooked up that
our
deal, right?
good friend Peter,
Yeah.
who was the one, shout out to Peter.
Yeah.
He was the one that actually brought Genuine to
Yeah.
Toronto
Mhm.
and set up this whole huge spectacular at the...
Danforth Music Hall.
Exactly. And you opened for him.
Opened, yeah.
So you can say you opened for a legend.
A legend, yeah. He's certainly a legend in his own right.
Yeah.
So that came about, and, you know, CBC Radio came knocking about. I had a song featured in once again, a world-renowned documentary called This Is For Toronto. So, yeah, the success kept on coming, and we decided to, you know, create a full album and essentially start shopping it to various entities.
Awesome. And keep in mind, people, everyone works or is in school and has this stuff going on, and everyone says, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I always admired about Delon was that we worked full-time at Holt Renfrew.
40 hours a week, sometimes even more.
40 hours a week. And he was getting his PhD while working full-time.
Yeah.
In addition to that, on his days off, making music, going
That's
to
right.
the studio, writing.
Mm-hmm.
And just to show you that if you want something bad enough,
Mm-hmm.
you can make it happen.
You find time for it.
Let's make it happen.
That's your catchphrase. That's
Let's
right.
make it happen.
You make it happen. And you know what? There is no shortcutting. You know, if you believe in this, if you have a passion for it, jump right in. You know, no holes barred. Just continue doing what you're doing, and eventually it will pay off.
Nice. And what kept you going? Like, it must have really hurt after, you know, this whole boom with the music
Mhm.
and kind of going back to life when it didn't pan out. What was the drive? Like, what kept you going?
You know, I've always been a believer in exceptionalism and just believing that if you have a talent, if you have something to offer that no one else can in a room,
Mhm.
if you're a 1 out of 10, you know, that can do something that others can't do, it's your duty to share that with people,
Interesting.
you know? So, I mean, not everyone can sit with a guitar and perform the way I do. And I don't want to sound egotistical or like, swell my head, right? But I mean, it's a fact, right? I mean, if there's something you can do that others can't do, I think it's your right to share that with the world,
Mhm.
because to deprive them is a shame, a very sad thing.
To that point,
Mm.
it is tough to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
open yourself to criticism,
Mhm.
open yourself to, you know, failure.
Yeah.
How do you get over that? How is, you know, did you get over the quote unquote stage frights
Mhm.
or, you know, that those limiting beliefs that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people do have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it comes down to being very aware, being critical of popular discourse. I mean, you know, the adage that we use in our culture is failure is not an option,
Mhm.
right? I don't believe so. I think failure is an option because with failure, you grow as an individual, as a musician, as an academic, as a husband, a brother, so on and so forth, right? So this idea that failure is not an option, I think, is flawed. And I think it needs to be challenged and subverted by individuals like you and I, you know, who've gone through the ringer and we've learned from our failures,
Yeah.
you know, and we take what we've learned and we apply it to subsequent endeavors, right?
Yeah, because you're eventually going to fail.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is taking a little off course, but
Mhm.
Mark Cuban, a
Mm.
world-renowned billionaire,
Yes,
owns
yes.
the Dallas Mavericks.
Mhm.
He says, I failed so many times,
Mhm.
but no one remembers your failures.
It's true.
In business
Mhm.
or in music, you only have to be right once.
That's right.
And no one forgets that, you know, he tried to sell powdered milk or all these random other businesses or endeavors, right?
Yeah. Mark Cuban said that, eh?
Mark Cuban said in business.
I don't really know him that well. I think I only know him because of Entourage.
Yes.
he was in the last season or something.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, so
Mhm.
which is true,
Yeah.
because if you're going out there and you're trying not to fail,
Mhm.
you're always gonna be in the boundaries. You're not
Yes,
gonna really
yes.
push yourself out
Yeah.
there to make you that person who's the
Mhm.
1 out of 10 in the room.
You have to fail. You
Mhm.
have to fail, because without failure, you won't learn. You won't grow. I mean, I think Denzel Washington, when he won an award, I'm not sure if it was an Academy Award
Mhm.
or if it was a SAG or a Golden Globe, but he said, if it wasn't easy, or if it were easy, rather, there would be no Denzel Washingtons. There would be no Viola Davises. There would be
Mhm.
no so on and so forth, right? So, you know, it's not supposed to be easy. That's the point, right?
Yeah, so saying that,
Mhm.
and you say you're an excellent student.
Mhm.
I don't see you, or I don't think you were a troublemaker
No,
in that sense.
no.
How did you go above and beyond,
Mhm.
but still kind of stay in that bubble
Mhm.
where you weren't causing trouble or stepping on people's feet?
It took a lot of diligence. It took a lot of observation and just being aware of your surroundings to ensure that you don't go down the wrong path, you know. And I don't want to, you know, have any value judgments as to what's right and what's wrong, because that's a totally different topic. Right? It's very philosophical.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's very true.
But I just knew what I needed to do in order to get where I need to be, you know, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to go down certain paths because I thought that it might hinder my ability to teach,
Yeah.
for example, right? To migrate out of the country, to travel, so on and so
Yeah.
forth, right?
You really are a social master in the
A
sense
master of none.
a master of none.
Yeah.
Where you can go into a room and or a situation
Yeah.
and know what to say, who is who,
Yeah.
and you don't treat everyone differently.
Mm.
You push everyone's buttons differently, and I've noticed that about you, which is
Yeah.
excellent,
Yeah.
because being great in sales or a great communicator,
Mhm.
you can't speak to like everyone the same.
Exactly.
Everyone reacts differently.
You have to be a social chameleon.
That's the
right?
word I was looking for.
You're a social
Great.
chameleon, and I think you've mastered that skill as well. I mean, I've seen you on the floor, and your entire disposition changes if you're selling to a young group of kids versus an elderly couple, right? So it's flexibility. It's the
Yes.
ability to be adaptable and to be flexible in your social environment.
And to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy would wear my name tag. What else would you like? Just the things that we would do at
Well,
work.
That's all part of the plan, right? I mean, that I find is a way to evade responsibility and accountability, right? It's just wear someone else's name tag.
Yeah, but you say you're just someone else,
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
or don't wear a name tag at all.
Exactly. But I mean, we kid about that, but we always delivered exceptional service.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, I think one of the most memorable sales for me was an elderly Chinese man entered the store and wanted to buy, I think, one of
it
the
was
watches.
a watch. It was a Frédéric Constant
Yes,
watch.
that's right.
I remember that.
You and I, we serviced this elderly man, and he bought like $7,000 to $10,000 worth of merchandise.
He did.
So.
And Delon was always about a giver, always sharing.
I think it's important,
Right.
and that was one of the things that we did to subvert the very hedonist and individualist approach to selling that was so prominent on the
Yeah.
second floor of that store.
Yeah, certain
Yeah.
environments and
Yeah.
certain companies can be quite toxic, and we've noticed that, where you have someone working the same position for 20, 30
Yeah.
years, and they're set in their ways.
Yep.
And you have to really work around them
Mm-hmm.
and actually kind of work to their advantage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And where Delon taught me and coined the term, this is psychological warfare. So as soon as I would come to work or something, and just loud enough for everyone else to hear, Delon would be like, wow, you had that huge sale. Like, you're just like, man, how did you do it? Like, how
Yeah.
much was it? Like 10,000?
Yeah.
There was no sale.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you throw it out there,
Yeah.
everyone else is like, oh.
Yeah.
So
They're intimidated.
they're intimidated.
Mhm.
Not to say to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but we're a social species.
Yeah.
No one's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you throw that in there, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Then they start second guessing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not all about the brute force.
Yeah.
sometimes real power can be done secretly,
in a very latent fashion.
seductively.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, and where do you get this from? Where do you get your inspiration from? Who inspires you in the world in 2018?
Oh gosh, it's so hard to look for quote unquote heroes these days, because things are just so turbulent. But I mean, I derive inspiration from past heroes, the Martin Luther Kings, the Gandhis, the Nelson Mandelas, right? And these are individuals that really promoted a philosophy based on love and peace. Here's the thing: if you're gonna attempt to love, right? Let's say it's a partner, it is a sibling, so on and so forth. You're gonna fail. You're immediately gonna fail, because love comes from an understanding of who you are and what you are capable of. And most importantly, it comes from an ability to love yourself. What we think is love, let's go to the example of being in a relationship with your partner. What we think is love is fed to us by very consumerist ideologies. It's pathological, it's masochistic sometimes, it's based on ideas of property, viewing your partner as a piece of property, right? But that's not love. Love, and I'm quoting the sociologist and philosopher Erich Fromm. He says love is a productive orientation. It's based on care, ethic, responsibility, right? And most importantly, an affirmation of humanity, right? So that's my approach. I draw inspiration from that. I'll tell you, you learn a lot about human behavior working at Holt Renfrew, or any retail organization or company, right? I once had a conversation with a guy. He bought a pair of jeans off of me, and we started talking about the world and the state of affairs. And I said, based on what's going on in the world these days, you can lose your faith in humanity. And he looked at me, and he leaned in closely, and he said, do you want to restore your faith in humanity? Have children. And I was blown away. It was the most insightful thing anyone has ever told me. Wow. Despite all my years of training in academia.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful thing, a beautiful experience, interaction.
Powerful.
Yeah, and that's what love is. It's a productive orientation.
I like that.
Yeah.
And to what you said, a lot of people have not taken the academic route, or have not been to post-secondary or schooling. But one of our colleagues that's been in the business for his whole life, Terry Beecham, said,
yes.
If you're watching this, Terry, he said, listen, Victor, you might not, let's say, are in school, but you have a degree in people.
That's right.
In life.
Yeah.
Working retail will teach you things that being in school can't.
Absolutely.
And absolutely won't.
I agree.
And hearing that from him, from someone who's now retired, it was really powerful, because being able to communicate, being able to read people is such an underrated thing these days.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the accolades. Everyone wants, the GPAs, the degrees. But being able to go into a room and kind of look at the situation and see what your best course of action is very, very beneficial.
And I think you've got the market cornered on that. I remember we used to go to the Friday nights, the ROM. Incredible, the way you would work a room. Absolutely incredible. It's a real skill and art form that people these days don't have.
And you know what? The only way to learn this is by doing it.
Yeah.
And I remember getting my first time being on the sales floor at said company we worked at, and I go, man, how do you do this? To one of the older gentlemen, like, how are you so good? He said, Victor, if you want 20 years of sales experience, work 20 years.
Yeah, it's very simple.
There's no way around it.
It's very commonsensical, yeah.
And we're in that part of society, and the way we're living these days, everyone wants a shortcut.
Yeah.
Everyone wants it now. No one wants to put in the effort.
Well, even with the music industry, I mean, that seems to be the case. I mean, there's a great book by a guy named Andrew Keane, and he talks about how, the web the 2.0 phenomena
Mm-hmm.
has changed so many dynamics within our social existence, right? For example, he talks about how what appears to be free actually costs us a fortune. And he's talking about, of course, the digital age, downloading Instagram, Snapchat. You know, these are all quote-unquote free apps.
Mm-hmm.
But it is costing us a fortune in terms of our mental health, in terms of status, in terms of just the layout of our society. I mean, I remember reading an article last week about how the use of Snapchat and Instagram among teenage girls is now causing a form of dysmorphia. So they're now critically analyzing how they look in real life and trying to achieve what is seen online.
Exactly. And keep in mind, anything you see online is not real.
Yeah. It's a simulated reality. It's the Matrix for all intents and
well,
purposes.
you know, with between filters
Yeah.
and all these different ways of manipulating.
Yeah. But these young girls now were trying to achieve these filtered representations of who they are.
And everyone, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, and with these whole, like, Snapchat and Instagram, they have all these faces and everyone just...
Even avatars on Snapchat.
Exactly.
I once dated a girl. I fell in love with the avatar more than the girl. You know?
And then they just... And then that becomes part of their...
Yeah.
You know...
You know, she would come over and I'm like, no, I want the other girl. I want the cartoon version of you. True story.
And then I have some, you know, some girls, and they only send the avatars.
Yes.
And I'm like, send me your real thing. You know, send me your real face, your real voice. And
have you ever tampered with online dating?
I have.
Yeah?
I have.
I've tampered with it, and I've seen the profile pictures of some women are Snapchat filters.
Yeah.
There was that very popular one, the dog with the dog ears.
Yes.
I once saw a woman have that as her profile pic.
Absolutely. And
You know?
and like it's becomes ingrained.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and then there's like the little, isn't there like a one that has fake freckles? I've seen
That's
that one
right,
with the
yeah.
glasses,
The tiara and
the tiara.
the crown of roses or
And
whatever.
it shows how ingrained we are with our phones, and how, you know, we're glued to them. And I know I spend, like I said this in the last podcast, like sometimes as soon as I get up, go right to my phone.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you,
Yeah.
what does your morning routine look like?
Oh gosh. Well, you know, going back to this idea of success, I try not to follow trends, you know, especially in music. You know, there's the whole mumble rap, there's the trap, there's the list goes on, you know, and I try to trade with different resources that I have and just stay true to who I am as a musician. Not trying to go down that rabbit hole. So for me, that's success, you know. But going back to like the morning regimen, I do quickly review what's going on in the world using Twitter. And
Delon's strategic because you really are independent in the sense. I would be the one telling him what's going on.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, did you hear that new Weeknd song? Oh, did you hear that new this? Yo, you should be doing this. You should be doing that, because that's what's popular.
Right.
And I applaud because you're like, this stuff's all trendy.
Yeah.
I want to make music that's
timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always admire that.
Yeah.
Because you never really were like trying to hop on a bandwagon.
I can't think of one piece that I have in my repertoire that is trendy per se. I think they're all timeless pieces. They're all organic in the sense that the instrumentation is just natural. You know, it's not, like I said, following this particular vibe that's promoted and commodified, right?
So what do you do when you wake up?
Oh, work out.
You work
drink,
out.
I
As soon as
drink
you wake
water.
up?
Yeah. Okay, here, the key. I drink a lot of water.
How much water are we drinking?
About 2 liters.
How much do you drink as soon as you wake up?
1 liter, and then the other liter for the rest of the day.
Do you drink with lemon? No lemon?
Warm water, sometimes with lemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Delon
Stretch.
doesn't eat breakfast?
No.
We'll get into that after.
Yeah.
We'll get into his...
I'm on the intermittent fasting.
Yeah, he's been on that from time.
Yeah. It resets your regenerative system. It's, some people quote it as the fountain of youth. You know, I mean,
Really?
I'm 34. You know, I was carded today when I went to buy the bottle of wine for you.
Which we have here.
Yeah. We had to celebrate. So, you know, I mean, there are benefits to it. It resets the regenerative system. It keeps you looking young and healthy.
Okay, so He doesn't drink. So okay, we're gonna go into this because this was like one of the most fun parts of being your friend. So Delon doesn't eat anything all day, and he'll eat when he gets home at night.
Yeah.
You know, he's egg white omelet with the turkey meatballs.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe some salsa in there.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every day. Some greens.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Greens every day.
So you're a man of routine.
Yes.
Yeah. And can you tell the audience, the World Wide Web, the millions and millions of people watching, what do you do Friday nights?
Friday nights, I commence my weekend with the cheat day. I'll usually have a Baconator from Wendy's.
Right at midnight.
I'm like a gremlin, but the opposite way because they turn into monsters at night. But no, yeah, when midnight strikes on technically Saturday morning, I head to a Wendy's because they're open until like 2 a.m. and I buy a Baconator. And sometimes I'll send you a picture.
He really does. And, you know, it'd be like Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he'd be like fantasizing about his cheat day.
But
which
you know
is
what? That's the thing. I think that's the beauty of it. The intermittent fasting, you have a profound appreciation for food. I mean, how many people can say they actually appreciate the food? You know, I know people that eat processed foods all day, 7 days a week. And it's become routine, you know? And, you know, I don't mean to glorify processed food because, you know, it has a lot of problems with regards to your health. But, you know, when I abstain from eating certain things or I curtail my intake of it, I find that I have a deeper appreciation, even with alcohol. You know, with wine, I maybe drink maybe twice a week at best. And, you know, it really develops a profound appreciation for the item.
he would be dreaming.
Yeah.
He would dream, and like Thursday, he'd be like, maybe I'll go today. And he'd be like, all right,
And then you would convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I'd be like, nah, just wait, man, just wait.
Yeah.
And we've had some really good cheat days together.
We have, yes.
He would bring, and then so Saturday is his cheat day. So
Yeah.
it's a whole day of Saturday. So we would work Saturday at work.
Yeah.
And this guy would carry trail mix. He would buy like bags of trail mix and keep it in his pocket.
Yeah, in my suit jacket.
Jackets. And then
the irony, I'm wearing a $2,000 Canali suit and I've got trail mix in my pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like he doesn't like the Brazil nuts, so he would just he would just put them sneakily in my blazer. And throughout the day I'd be finding like nuts in here.
Yeah.
But there's one funny thing that I'm going to expose you.
Oh God. I hope the beneficiary of those treats isn't watching.
So Delon on Saturdays would bring these.
Yeah.
And he brought them for me today. They are like little...
They're called Aussie Bites. I bought them at Costco.
Yes. So from forever, like, you know, let's say a couple months, Delon would bring them every Saturday on cheat day and be like, hey guys, I just baked them. They're like rolled oats, you know, I just got all this. And everyone at work was like, man, you're the best. Like, these are so awesome.
Yeah.
Bring me in.
Yeah.
Bring me in.
That's one of my pointers for success. If you're working in an office environment, always lie and say you've baked certain goods for the superior.
That's right. It's all about keeping your superiors happy sometimes, right? That was just hilarious. And
he would eat it up. He loved it.
Yeah, he
asked me for the recipe.
I was hounding you until one day you're like, dog. All right, I just buy them at Costco, man.
Yeah.
I was like, it was the funniest thing ever, man.
They're great.
They are great. They really are great. But yeah, so you're a very healthy guy.
Yeah, I try.
Your body is a temple.
My body's my temple. That's right.
So you don't drink much.
No.
You work out.
Yeah, every day.
You work out every day.
Yeah.
Do you do like more weights, body weight exercises?
Calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups. I try to be comfortable with lifting my own body weight.
Do you find that helps the other aspects of your life?
Absolutely. For my mental health, my clarity, motivation for writing. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was going to skip going to the gym today to come here, and I decided not to because I thought I wanted to be on my A game for solving success.
You did call me, and I could hear people grunting in the back and like,
That's
like,
right.
the weights dropping and stuff. So I was like, oh, this guy's at the gym.
Yeah.
All right. And you do all this because we want to be, quote unquote, successful. We want the best for our lives.
Yeah.
The people want to know, Delon, what does success mean to you?
Oh gosh,
it's a loaded question.
Yeah,
it's different for everyone.
Success is really tuning into happiness, I think. You know, happiness comes from the word happenstance, meaning your surroundings.
Okay.
Right? I want to transcend that idea of happiness and find it within me. You know, I mean, there are many things I'm unhappy about with myself. And as an artist, I channel that energy into music. And I find that to be successful, you really have to achieve that state of bliss, euphoria, and happiness in your mind, heart, and soul.
How do you know what you want?
How do I know what I want?
Or, you know, for people, it's like a lot of people ask, it's like, man, I don't know what I want to do in life. Like, you know, I'm just working this job, but I'm not happy. But I'm like, okay, but, you know, is there something? I don't know, man.
I think it's on a case-by-case basis, and depending on what you're doing, you have to look at the equations that are put in front of you. So if happiness is the sum total of A and B, what is A and B? So, for example, I watched a great documentary about Jim Carrey on Netflix where he's portraying Andy Kaufman. Did you watch it?
I've heard amazing things.
It's incredible.
I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan.
You know, Jim Carrey's on some different wave because he said that he went home one night and he's lying in bed and he asked himself, I know what I want. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to be a successful comedian. I know how to do that. But what do they want? What does the audience want? What do the listeners want? And the next day he went to a comedy club and he opened up with saying just this. Good evening. How's everyone doing? Alrighty then. And people started laughing. Like they were just cracking up. And he said, that's it. People want to live vicariously through me by not caring. You know? And when he's answering his own questions on stage, he didn't care. You know, he wasn't caring about the reception that the audience was giving. He wasn't caring about their responses or, you know, whether or not they even liked him. He was just there doing what he does.
Let's dig a little deeper in that because it's a very deep thing where when you don't care about other people, what other people think.
Yes.
And that's where like the magic kind of happens.
Absolutely.
Being reactive or being proactive.
Yeah. There's so many shackles that we bear on our shoulders.
Stage fright.
Yeah.
It's because we're so scared of what are they gonna think?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know not doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's tough sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I like the point that you said where it's like give them what they want.
And we had that conversation the other day when we went on that walk around. What was that construct there?
It's like there's a construct near Eaton Center.
Yeah.
It's like a Celtic thing where you kind of the premises of it, you put something in your mind, like a question or something you're thinking about, and you walk through like this maze, and you walk through the lines, and you walk and you think and you're pensive and you're thinking, and by the end, hopefully you've kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
And what were we talking about?
Music. You know, we were saying, okay, I know what I want. I want to be a successful musician, but what do people want? And I think people want just good, wholesome, authentic music. You know, they don't want to pretend that they have to be cool in certain social settings. They want to love. They want to trust people. They want to be social entities.
Yeah, because it's about the music, but it's more than that.
Yeah,
it's like you like want to live through them. Like, you know, it's like, oh man, like, you know, I wish I was up there, like that whole quote unquote rock star lifestyle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everyone growing up wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
Now the new rock star is different. It's changed. It's no longer a guy with a guitar. It's a guy tatted up.
Yeah.
Or it depends on person to person. But the whole rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? How like rap and hip hop is the new rock?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Kanye said it, right? I mean, he said, you know, rappers are the new rock stars, and he's the greatest of them all. I would debate that, but no, I mean, he's absolutely right. The genres have changed, you know. But here's the thing. I think we can't really collapse pop, rap, rock. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's pop music. You know what I mean? It's pop music that is setting the trend. It just so happens that the genres have slightly changed. And it's interesting, like the instrumentation for quote-unquote rap music, sometimes it's rock. You know what I mean? I heard Kendrick's last album.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did for Black Panther, the film. I mean, if you were to take his vocals off, I mean, that could very well be like a pop rock track.
That's very true.
So, I mean, it's really innovative on behalf of the producers that are tampering with different genres and different styles. I mean, I think it's a beautiful expression of just musicality.
Yeah, because the music's changed so much.
I mean, Jay-Z's been doing that for quite some time now, right? I mean, some of his songs sounded like rock songs.
Do you remember Jay-Z in Linkin Park?
What an incredible collaboration. One of my favorite songs by Jay-Z, though, was 99 Problems. That's a rock song. Yeah, that's a rock song.
Yeah.
But he did his thing, and it became this cross-fertilization of rap and rock and pop, and it was just hip-hop. It was incredible.
What do you think of Toronto's music scene? Like, are we up there?
Of course.
Are we one of the cultural hubs now in the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we up there with LA, New York?
I think so. I mean, I know for a fact that a lot of agencies are not coming to Toronto to set up shop, just by virtue of the weekend phenomenon, right? You had Drake, Party Next Door, and a slew of other OVO artists.
Bieber?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I would say Daniel Caesar's up there.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar, yeah.
Where's Shawn Mendes from?
Pickering.
There
My
we go.
hometown, yeah, my hometown.
There we go, and he's just killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's so nice to kind of see the city where we came from, like, just blow up.
Yeah.
And people talk, oh, you know, Toronto's real estate's going up and this and that. That's because everyone wants to live here now.
That's right.
Like, people
It's
travel
globalization,
all over the world to come to Toronto.
Yeah.
And it was like that growing up, but not as much.
Mhm.
Not to the degree
Yeah.
that it is now.
Yeah,
And
we certainly found a niche.
Yeah. And do you think there's a Toronto sound?
Yes. There was when The Weeknd first came out. You know, he tampered in the whole like dark R&B, dark ambient rock vibe, and that became so popular. People jumped on that bandwagon, and now he's gone, you know, in a totally different direction. And then you've got the kind of what you would call samba meets reggaeton meets hip hop, and really interesting stuff being done by a lot of artists. I mean, once again, Drake paved the way for that. You know, Justin Bieber, I think he really set the bar very high, and people just followed through.
And, you know, we are actually recording this across the street from the OVO store.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you know, just Drake having an OVO store.
Love OVO.
And now,
huge
too,
fan.
I'm wearing the shirt right now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kenny.
OVO, baby.
Yeah. It's good to see that. And, you know, traveling the world, I remember being in New York and having like an OVO. Something was OVO. And has people from like Kentucky.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, you're from Toronto? Where y'all from? You from Toronto?
Really?
Yeah. And be like, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, wow. Like, that feels cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because growing up, we were like second
Gives you
fiddle.
a sense of pride.
It does. I'm proud to be from, you know, growing up in this beautiful country and, you know, kind of seeing the change.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And to make change, you have to push the boundaries.
Yeah.
You have to hear a lot of no's.
Absolutely. I've heard many no's.
How did you bounce back? How did you deal with that? Because I know from, like, sometimes in my life, there's been a few no's where it's like, it stings.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes too long to get past it.
Yeah.
You know?
You've got to put your ego aside, I think. You know?
Mhm.
You've really got to put your ego aside. I mean, there was that one episode of Entourage where Johnny Drama auditioned for a role. And he sat up there and he said, you know what, I've got so many accolades. I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, but I still have to sing for my supper to prove myself to you. It's a very humbling experience. You know, I mean, I worked with Trinity Chris, for example, and he's got a very interesting story. You know, he was aligned with Akon when Akon had Convict Records, and he was about to blow up. You know, something happened, personal crisis of sorts, and that prevented him from traveling, you know. All of a sudden, Cardinal Official jumps on the track,
Boom.
and Akon became a superstar.
And I find these are the things that either make or break you.
Yeah. And Trinity Chris is a brilliant artist.
And, you know, it's fine going broke, and it's fine doing these things. The hard part is bouncing back.
Yeah.
Because...
And he's told me many a time, you know, had it not been for me, he probably would not have, you know, pursued his passions and his dreams. I mean, he said, one day we were recording, and he said, you know what, Delon, I know for a fact the only way I'm going to get on radio is with you by my side.
Yeah.
Giving that pop flair, giving that R&B flair. And, you know, we had a song, was #1 in Jamaica for like 6 to 8 weeks. You know, we flew down there.
So what we gonna do
That's
now?
right, baby.
Yeah.
We flew down there and we performed at the 13th annual awards show. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And I remember, and being an artist is difficult because we are our own worst critics. And I remember Delon being like, man, what am I doing with this music? Like coming into it, like, you know, what am I doing, man? Like, am I wasting my time? You know, am I wasting, like, you know, my money? Because to be a musician these days, it costs money. Or anything costs money these days. But
not to mention people that swindle you.
Yes.
Whose names we won't say.
We won't mention. We won't mention those names. Yeah. But they're there.
You know him very well.
Matthew knows him very well.
Really?
Yes. So might have to have a conversation off camera about this and go get our money. But yeah, in life there's always people that are not looking the best for you.
Yeah. And
you know, there's always people that are value givers and there's value takers.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you stay away from someone that might be toxic to you, like, or a toxic relationship?
Well, you know, going back to that incident with the individual whose name we won't say, that was a very unpleasant experience, and opportunities arose and people volunteered their time and efforts to help me equal the playing field, so to speak. And you know what? You lose yourself when you become, quote unquote, the monster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Don't be that person. Be the best version of yourself, despite what's happening around you. You know, I believe in free will. I don't believe that things are determined and predetermined. And I think that whatever happens around you, whatever people are doing to impact your life, doesn't mean you have to react in that manner. You can take it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Mm-hmm. Do you think everything's a learning experience?
Everything. Everything is an experience to learn and love.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Learn and love.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of, like, hearing the no's, how do you bounce back from that?
Once again, you put the ego aside. You're a very busy man. You've got a lot of calls coming.
You already know. The phone's always off the hook.
That might be the person who swindled me. He's calling in for an apology.
He is calling in saying he's got the money.
He's got the money.
Okay. To that point,
Mm-hmm.
people that have done you wrong in the past, just in general, do you let them come back and apologize?
Yes, because I think love is at the root of all relationships.
Okay.
Love or lack thereof. And, you know, despite what happened, I still love that person as a human being. And I wish him the best in his endeavors. And it's very unfortunate that it happened, but, you know, hopefully he has an opportunity to grow from that experience.
And, you know, how do you be the quote-unquote bigger person and be, you know, be like in the sense a bigger person, but, you know, let the person come back and help them? And I think what I really want to ask is, do you believe people can change? Is there you've studied criminology, so like someone who's been to, I don't want to say prison, can they be changed?
I think so. Once again, I don't believe in determinism. You know, I don't think things are predetermined. I think what makes us so special is our capacity for free will.
Okay.
And volition and action and agency. Right? So yes, people can change. I've changed. I've changed a great deal from experiences like that, from previous relationships. You know, I've failed many relationships. I'm sure you have. You know,
we've both failed.
We both failed,
and we both learned from our mistakes.
Well, and that's going back to the idea of love. And you know, maybe we weren't in a position to love ourselves, and that's why those relationships failed.
And do you believe that some people come in our lives for certain reasons?
Absolutely. I think you're in my life for a very specific reason.
Okay.
You've saved me many times, spiritually and emotionally, from certain breakdowns or just giving up, throwing in the towel, with music especially.
And vice versa, you know, it's always nice to have someone that you can count on and really vibe with.
Yeah.
I know we all have those people at work. Some people do, some people don't. And, you know,
I think those were the people that were just calling.
Yes, yeah.
They wanted to join your social circle.
Right? It's all about having great people in your life and building a great social circle.
Yeah. What was that thing you said? Your net worth is your network.
Yes, your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
We're at an hour, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Time flew by.
So I got a few more questions to ask you. Because, your network is your net worth, and who you know is gonna make you grow.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have, I know you've had some people in your life, especially in the music scene, that have been holding you back. And I had to be the I had to be like, a good friend will tell you when you've done wrong.
Yes.
And I used to just bother this guy and being like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you need to open your eyes. I'm seeing this from an outsider's perspective. Because and you've done the same for me.
Yeah.
Because a good friend will tell you, hey, you're slipping.
Yeah.
A not good friend will just watch you kind of crash and burn. Right? And just let that happen.
Yeah.
But a real friend, a true brother, will be like, hey, I've noticed this.
Yeah.
Let's
address it.
Let's address it. How can we make it better? Or what's the root? What's going on here?
Yes, once again, I was very naive when I first started as a musician, and now I'm starting to see the game for what it is. I'm starting to take the power back because any relationship is based on power dynamics and power relations, right? And I think they were very skewed at one point. But now that I have the confidence to branch out independently, thanks to your guidance, I think that we can seriously think about what it is we need to accomplish.
It's true. And
we've already taken those steps.
Yeah. And we're always taking better steps and finding ways to be. I think a lot of things, and the reason why people aren't happy, quote unquote, is they don't have a creative outlet.
Yeah.
They haven't found their path.
Yeah.
What they can really present to the world and share.
Archaeologists have revealed that some of the earliest artifacts that we found were pieces of art.
Wow.
Right? Even drawings on cave walls. So it shows you the importance of artistry and what it does for our consciousness, our mental health, our state of being.
You hear that, Doug Ford, Kathleen Wynne, Andrea Horvath.
That's right.
The arts.
Yes. Woefully underfunded at the moment. We need to change that.
Yeah, because, it's important in everyone's day-to-day life, right? Marcia McLuhan once said, art is anything you can get away with.
Yeah,
Deep.
I agree.
So, going back, and I wanted to ask you this, what are some things that you do on a day-to-day basis that keep you in check? That keep you closer to your dreams? Like, do you set goals? Do you meditate? What are some things that ensure that you're, quote unquote, getting the job done? How do you hold yourself accountable? Yeah,
it's very serendipitous that you asked that question, because I was on Neil, our friend Neil's feed on Instagram, and he posted something saying, have you done anything today that'll help you tomorrow? And I do this thing where every day I do something that'll get me one step closer. It could be sending off an email, a text message, or writing a hook for a song, right? And I believe that if you tabulate those things by the end of the month, end of the year, you would have done 365 things to get you closer to your goal.
Exactly.
And Neil promotes that philosophy. I mean, I think you should have him on the show one day as well.
I absolutely will. Neil is
a dear friend of both of ours.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. And that being said, following the right people on your social media.
Yes, absolutely. Supportive people as well.
Supportive people, right? Not just the, no matter what you're doing and you're posting stuff and, videos, pictures, don't, just because someone doesn't say anything doesn't mean they're not watching.
Yeah. And don't throw shade to people that may be doing something and you're, for whatever reason, not doing it. I mean, I see you having dinner and lunch all the time, and not once have you invited me.
Yeah, there's a reason.
And I'm going to confront you on that one. Solving success, I'm going to confront Vitor right now.
Okay. Well,
what is up? Am I not good enough to dine with you?
All you got to do is send the invite. Don't be shy. Don't be scared, homie.
I'm only kidding. You go to some great places, though. I think you were. Where were you today?
I was on the Danforth today.
Oh, no kidding, eh?
And we actually went.
Yeah.
Delon and
I love Christina's.
Okay.
That's a
Delon and I
place.
went somewhere on Danforth a couple months back.
Pan? I love that place.
And we do something what's called credit card roulette. So anytime we go for dinner, wherever that may be, at the end of our meal, we take two of our cards, our credit cards or debit cards, and we give it to the waiter, waitress, waitstaff, and we have them choose who pays.
Yeah.
They do like a whole little.
So far, I'm one.
I lost.
Yeah.
Oh no, or you?
Well,
won. I can't
technically, you
remember.
would have won because you didn't have to pay.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a fun way of keeping
Yeah.
things fun, and I do.
It's a great place, Pan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
great place.
there's so many good,
Amazing.
great places we've been.
Yeah.
I know, even in Yorkville.
Yeah.
Funny story.
Mm.
I took Delon one time and his production manager, tour manager, to Yorkville.
Yeah, I was airing my grievances with my
After-
former management, and a little word of advice for those that are taking me out for a drink. After 2 glasses, that's my limit.
This man lost it.
I did.
You know when you've had this in you for
was
so
bottled
long,
up.
and it's been bottled up, and everyone, like he snapped. And
What was his name? Ducky?
Ducky.
Yeah,
He told Ducky, "Hey, listen." So he really let himself out and told him how he felt.
Yeah.
And
A little
you
liquid
felt-
courage goes a long way.
You texted me after being, man, I feel so great.
Yeah.
I've had that bottled up for so long. I wanted to tell this guy this for
Yeah.
so long.
Mhm.
At first, he was trying to pawn me to say it.
Yeah, right.
And during the meeting, being like, Victor, can you ask him about this and ask him about that?
Yeah.
And which I started
Mm-hmm.
slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And then Delon just took over and be like, no, tell me.
Yeah.
Like, demanding answers.
That's right. You have to.
Yeah. So you hold yourself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You have goals. What are some books? I would name. Give me like 1 or 2 books
Mm-hmm.
that have really impacted your life, and I will put them in like the comment section below
Mhm.
with like a little Amazon link or whatever.
Sure. Herbert Marcuse, The One-Dimensional Man.
Okay.
Yeah. And, believe it or not, Catcher in the Rye. I know it's fiction.
I've never read
but-
it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not even in high school.
Not even in high school.
Wow.
And I love reading.
Yeah.
I read a book a week.
I love that book. There's something special. I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories that those that have attempted assassinations had the book in their possession.
Mm.
I know Mark Chapman had it.
Okay.
The book was definitely impactful for him. In the film, Jared Leto
Mhm.
plays Mark Chapman, and I think it's called Chapter 27 because there are 26 chapters in the book, and he was going to write the 27th chapter. There have been theories or conspiracies that the person who presumably shot JFK also had a copy of it. So, yeah, there's just so much allure surrounding
Mhm.
that particular novel,
Nice. And what has been your favorite album in the last year?
It would have to be Kendrick's.
Really?
Yeah, it'd have to be Kendrick's.
Kendrizzy.
Yeah.
Kendrick. I know you're a big fan of
Yeah.
Kendrick.
Love Kendrick Lamar.
Nice. What about it?
The authenticity. He speaks to social issues, and he makes it cool.
Yeah.
Not many people can do that. People have tried in the past,
Mhm.
but it didn't stick. So he has found a wonderful formula for disseminating this information in a palatable way.
The Pulitzer.
Yes.
He won it.
It's amazing.
Amazing. And kind of, I like to ask this
Mm.
towards the end
Yeah.
of the broadcast. Tim Ferriss was one that taught me. Like, he brought this up, and I want to ask you, what's one thing under $100 that you would recommend everyone to buy?
Oh, jeez. That's a great question.
What's something that you use on a day-to-day basis?
That's a great question.
Something that's maybe changed your life.
I want to say clean underwear.
Clean underwear.
But that's, I don't know. All joking aside.
I really hope that is not something that people need to be reminded about.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. That's a great question.
But that's a great feeling. You put on a fresh pair of
I wouldn't know.
underwears.
I go commando.
Oh, my man.
Gosh. A diary?
A diary. I like
Diary,
that.
Yeah.
So like a moleskin.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
And
collect
getting
your thoughts.
a pen
Yeah.
and paper.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because we're so ingrained on our phones.
Yeah.
And like writing notes on our phones.
Mm-hmm.
But getting a pen and paper. And what would you suggest people write?
Their thoughts. What it is they're going through, what it is they're thinking about that very moment. I mean, think about posterity for a moment.
What's
To
posterity?
the future generations, right?
Okay.
Your grandchildren's children. If you have a collection of notebooks, one day they look back and say, wow, my great-great-great-grandfather was thinking about this on this day.
So you want something that's tangible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not only
And
for
it doesn't have to be
yourself?
profound. It could just be, you know what? Today I thought about an ex-girlfriend. I hope she's doing well.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I used to, or sometimes I got carried away and not doing it or forgetting, is write down 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for.
Yes, you told me that a while back.
I would just ask people, text messages, text your friends.
Yeah.
Hey, Delon, good morning. I have such great friends that text me like, good morning, hey, how you doing? What are you grateful for today?
Mm-hmm.
And you start the day like, wow, like I'm grateful. I have a job. I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I have clean water.
Yeah.
My parents, whatever
Yeah,
it may be, like, like we're
those
just,
things are often underestimated.
yes. So what if your car is not a BMW, Mercedes, you have a car, point A to point B.
Yeah.
You live in a city that has, or we do or do not has safe public transportation, accessibility, clean water, little things like that we get caught up in this whole social media.
Yeah.
Consumerism. You taught me that. What was I saying? One of your things you told me back in the day is when we buy something, it's like we buy into that brand.
The idea that it's exclusively made for you.
Yeah.
It's a very clever trick that consumerism has played on us.
You put on that suit, you're like, oh, this is so me.
But the irony is it's produced in a very standardized fashion, and the next person who wears it will feel the same way. So it's not a unique interaction, right?
Except, this could be one of the last things, custom.
Yeah, it's true. That is
Bespoke
true.
and custom suits, and we worked a lot in that.
Yeah.
And, if anyone's looking for a bespoke or custom suit, let us know. We know the best person.
Yes, we do.
in
Terry Beecham.
and GP.
GP, that's right. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have him on here because
Yes.
he's a wealth of amazing knowledge.
Yeah. His suits that I purchased from him, amazing.
As well. And, you learn so much from your peers, your family members. And one thing that Delon taught me, and I wanted to bring you on this show, is that you never stop learning.
Yeah.
No matter how old you are, when you're done high school, if you're not in university, you're still learning.
Yeah.
Keep that mindset. After you're done university, you're still learning. You don't just forget everything. You got to keep pushing yourself.
Oh, totally.
And really like break down those barriers to realize like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Look how big the world is.
It's very true.
I think we need to hear a song that Delon wants to, but he was playing it earlier for me, so I want you guys to hear it.
Oh, okay. Should I do a cover or should I do an original piece?
I don't know. Let's do both. This will be towards the end. This will be like a nice send-off.
Sure.
Delon, it's been a pleasure having you on this. You're the man.
Got a letter from a messenger. I read it when it came. It said that you were wounded, that you were bound in shame. You had love and you were handled. You were poison, you were pain. Oh no, oh no. You were naked, you were ashamed. Take a breath, baby. It's just you and me. I know it's hard to see the man I used to be. So what we gon' do now,
Yeah.
What we gon' do now, yeah? What we gon' do now? Do we tear it all down or build something? I'm only human, I'm born to make mistakes, but there's only so much mistake that are broken I can take.
Yeah.
Tired of crying, fed up and heartbreak. You know me, have to burn a spliff and meditate. You know me, really want a gal I me can learn, that keep me clean and proper food on me plate. This thing is stationary, tough like tape. You know the girl is the icing on a cake. Woo. Take a breath, baby. It's just you and me. I know it's hard to see we gonna do now, yeah? What we gonna do now, yeah? What we gonna do now? Do we tear it all down or build something?
Thank you for that, Delon. Where can people find you on Instagram? I'll put it up in like the comments, and I'd love for you to follow him.
Sure, it's at Delon_Om.
So I really hope that this is something I've been hounding you, that you really start utilizing your social media more,
yeah.
and
Very
this will be a reason to.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming down. I know the trip from Pickering and that Don Valley
the Don Valley parking lot,
like it's the worst,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you have to take a negative and bring it to a positive.
Absolutely.
And if you find yourself sitting in a lot of traffic and your commute sucks daily, listen to this podcast. It'll be audio version soon.
That's right.
B, get like Audible and start listening to some audiobooks.
Yeah.
Podcasts are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just listen to some good music. Listen to some Delon.
That's right.
All right. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
tuning in. Number dos. And I look forward to doing this again.
Thank you.